The village of Duskford had always been a peaceful place. Rolling fields of golden wheat, a gentle river winding past the mill, and a close-knit community of farmers. But in the last fortnight, something had changed. Cattle went missing, strange tremors rattled homes, and one morning the largest wheat field bore a gaping hole where half the crop should have been. The town council, desperate, called upon a band of adventurers staying at the Crooked Lantern Inn. The party, a grizzled dwarf fighter, a shifty elf rogue, a half-orc druid, and a human cleric, listened as the mayor described the appearances. "Something's beneath us," an old farmer said. "Something hungry." That night the party set bait, a freshly slaughtered pig tied to a wooden stake at the edge of a ruined field. Hours passed, and just as the rogue was about to call it a waste of time, the ground shuddered. A low chittering growl rose from the depths. Then, with terrifying speed, the soil erupted, and an Ankheg burst forth, chitinous armor glistening in the moonlight, mandibles snapping. The druid recognized the beast, barely at a time about shout a warning before the Ankheg spewed a stream of sizzling acid, melting the stake and burning the rogue's arm. The fighter charged, hammer smashing into the carapace, while the cleric called upon divine light to shield his allies. But the Ankheg was no mindless beast. It fought fiercely, burrowing between attacks and striking from unpredictable angles. The rogue, clutching his burning arm, had an idea. He scattered oil-soaked rags around the pit and shouted at the cleric, "Light it up!" As the Ankheg lunged, the cleric cast Sacred Flame. The oil ignited, flames roaring to life around the burrow. The Ankheg shrieked, its shell blackening with soot, and in a final desperate attack it lashed out. The fighter took the brunt of its mandibles, but with a mighty swing he crushed the monster's head. At dawn, the village found the adventurers standing over the smouldering remains of the Ankheg. The mayor swore them a hefty reward, but as the druid inspects the burrow, she frowned. "The tunnel leads deeper, much deeper. There may be more." The party exchanged uneasy glances. Their quest wasn't over. Beneath Duskford, something still stirred. So today's video is on the Ankheg. Firstly, what does the monster manual tell you about the Ankheg? So Ankhegs are large, unaligned monstrosities. They're oversized insectile predators that burrow through the ground near the surface. Ankhegs are usually solitary hunters, but may band together in nests of up to a dozen. Such nests are hard to destroy completely unless the tunnels are cleared and eggs are broken. Ankheg tunnels are said to be 10 feet wide, roughly cylinder-shaped, which formed sprawling labyrinths just beneath the ground surface. These tunnels are littered with scraps of Ankheg meals and treasure, as described on the D8 table on screen. Now, what about the stats? So, Ankhegs are a good challenge, I would say, for level 1 or 2 parties. It's only CR2. They're relatively easy to hit within a 14 AC, and they're fairly bulky with 45 hit points. They have a 10 feet burrow speed and the ability to tunnel through rock at half that speed. This means that any subterranean dungeon or cave could have an Ankheg burst through its walls to ambush an unsuspecting party members. Ankheg have low animal intelligence of 1. The creature also has decent senses in a 60-foot dark vision and tremor sense to the same distance. In combat, the Ankheg is powerful and scary for low-level adventurers, with its bite doing a total of 3d6 plus 3 damage and grappling most party members. The creature also has a recharge 6 acid spray in a 30-foot line, which deals 4d6 acid on a fail and half on a success. Nextly, what does the monster manual not tell you? So, Ankhegs are brown, yellow, or green, and their shells are made of chitin. They're described as chitinous, and Ankhegs are said to have black eyes. The Ankheg diet consists primarily of flesh and of decaying meat. The Ankheg life cycle was brutal, with females killing the male they just mated with and implanting the fertilized eggs into the body of the dead male. After a year or so of being fed by the mother, the 6 to 12 broodlings were strong enough to fend for themselves. There was a friend and foe relationship between Ankhegs and farmers. The Ankhegs often preyed on livestock, but if the Ankheg numbers were properly managed, the tunnels could aerate the soil and water the soil, improving crop yields, said to be around 15%. Ankhegs weighed about 800 pounds, of which 100 pounds was their chitinous shell. Some armorers were said to be able to forge armor called Ankheg plate mail, which was lighter than traditional metal plate mail and could be worn by warriors who can't wear such heavy armor or by druids who can't use metal armor. In previous editions, there were variants of the Ankheg called the lava Ankheg, which were adapted to burrowing through volcanic soil. Lava Ankegs were said to be hardier and tougher than their cousins, as the volcanic soil they burrowed through was denser, and so the lava Ankegs had tougher chitin and stronger piercers. So, in conclusion, Ankhegs are a fun and fantastical big dumb brute monster. The stat block is surprisingly versatile. I ran the first heist in the Golden Keys book when the party dropped the magical egg off the roof in a failed sleight of hand check. I narrated how black smoke and tentacles emerged from the shattering egg. The book suggests using an Ankheg stat block for what was supposed to be a trapped cosmic horror, but it didn't originally make sense to me, but on reflection, I really liked it. To me, it was the highlight of the one shot, but I digress. Is the party getting too foolhardy going through a dungeon? Throw in an Ankheg, burrowing through the wall. Ankegs can also be used for the classic trope of disappearing livestock slash people, as presented in the narrated intro. The stat block is just okay, but the flavour is incredible. I give this monster a 14 out of 20.